All right, hey everyone, let's dive right in, shall we? Today we're taking a deep dive into acing those NHS job interviews, and we've got some great material to work with.
Awesome.
It's a YouTube video, actually, from a company called How to Become.
Okay.
They really know their stuff when it comes to interview training, especially for the NHS. And you know what? One thing they really hammer home in this video is the importance of those core NHS values.
Yeah.
It's not just about showcasing your skills and your experience.
Right.
It's about showing those interviewers that you truly align with what the NHS stands for. You really got to get those values across.
Absolutely. And you know what's so interesting? It's these values that really set the NHS apart globally.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. When you're in that interview, the panel, they're not just listening for, the right answers.
Yeah.
They're really trying to gauge how deeply you connect with these values,
Mm-hmm.
how genuine your commitment is. They want to see that reflected in every single answer you give, not just here you rattle off a list.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about those values. What are we talking about here? We're talking about, let's see, working together for patients,
Mm-hmm.
respect and dignity,
Big one,
commitment to quality of care,
of course.
compassion, improving lives, and everyone counts. 6 core values, right?
That's right. 6 key pillars that underpin everything the NHS does. So the question is, how do you showcase these in an interview setting?
Right, right. Because it's one thing to know the values, but it's another to actually show them.
Exactly. And that's where this video gets really interesting. They delve into this strategy for answering those tricky behavioral questions.
Oh, yeah, those behavioral questions, those are the ones that always trip me up.
Yeah.
Tell me about a time when...
Yes.
Oh.
Those are the ones that ask you to describe a specific experience or situation. And this video, they have this great method. It's called the STAR method.
Okay, STAR method. I think I've heard of that before, but remind me, how does that work again?
All right, so the STAR method, it helps you structure your answers in a way that not only highlights your skills and experience, but also connects them back to those NHS values. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, result, and here's the clincher, reflection.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Yeah.
So you start by setting the scene,
Right.
describing the context.
Right. You lay out the situation, what was going on, what was the context. Then you explain your specific task or goal in that situation. What were you responsible for?
All right, so it's like you're telling a story, but in a very structured way.
Exactly. A structured story that really makes your skills shine. Then comes the action. What steps did you take to address the situation? What did you do?
Okay, action. Got it. And then, of course, the result. What happened because of your actions? What was the outcome?
Exactly. Did things improve? Did you meet your goal? That's the result.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. There's one more R in the STAR method. Reflection.
Oh, right. Reflection. Why is that part so important?
That's where you show your growth mindset. And the NHS, they really value that. You reflect on what worked well, what you might do differently next time, how the experience shaped you. It shows you're committed to continuous improvement, which is so important in healthcare, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just about showing you're competent, it's showing you're always learning and growing.
Exactly. And you know what's cool? This video, it actually gives us some example questions and answers for each NHS value. So we can really see how this STAR method works in action.
Oh, perfect. So let's dive into some of those, shall we? Let's see what we've got.
Let's start with compassion. Compassion is so fundamental in healthcare. But sometimes it can be hard to express it in, a concrete way.
Yeah. It's easy to say you're compassionate, but harder to actually show it.
Exactly. And this video uses the question, describe a time when you demonstrated compassion in your work. How would you answer that?
Oh, that's a good one. And I'm looking at their top scoring answer here.
Mm.
It's all about going above and beyond for an anxious elderly patient.
See, that's what's effective. It shows compassion in action. It's not just about feeling sorry for someone. It's about taking those extra steps to really ease their anxiety and discomfort.
Right. It's about action, not just feelings. And in this example, they talk about how they took the time to really listen to the patient, explain procedures slowly and gently, even brought some familiar items from the patient's home to make them feel more comfortable.
And that's such a great point. It's all about personalized care, right?
Mhm.
Seeing the individual beyond just their condition.
Absolutely. And the example doesn't stop there. They also talk about how they coordinated with the healthcare team to adjust treatment times so the patient's son could visit during hours that worked for him.
Right. It's not just about the patient themselves. It's recognizing the impact on their support network, their family, and making things easier for everyone involved.
It's that holistic approach to care, thinking about the whole person. What I also find really compelling about this example is how they emphasize the positive outcome. How the patient's anxiety visibly decreased, how she became more cooperative with her treatment, and even expressed gratitude for the care. It directly links compassion to tangible results.
Right, you can see how that compassion had a real impact on the patient's well-being. Okay, so we've talked about compassion, but how about navigating those tricky interactions, those challenging situations?
Yeah, those are inevitable in any healthcare setting.
Exactly. And that brings us to our next NHS value, respect and dignity. It's such a broad value, encompassing so much within healthcare.
Absolutely. It's about upholding everyone's inherent worth, even when faced with challenges.
Right. And this video, they really get to the heart of it with their question. They ask, tell us about a difficult interaction you had with a patient or a colleague and how you resolved it.
Oh, that's a tough one. I can already feel the pressure of that interview setting.
I know, right? It's like they're really testing you. But their example answer, it's brilliant. They talk about handling a notoriously difficult patient, someone known for being resistant to care or with a history of negative experiences.
Oh, wow. That's challenging. And what do they do?
Well, the answer really emphasizes approaching the patient with empathy and patience, taking the time to understand their concerns and involving them in every decision about their care.
So it's about empowering the patient, giving them a sense of control.
Precisely. They talk about explaining procedures in detail, discussing any alternatives, so the patient doesn't feel like things are just being done to them. They feel a sense of agency.
Yeah, it's about respecting their autonomy, making them a partner in their own healthcare journey.
Yeah.
And what I find really insightful is how this example mentions sharing personal stories, where appropriate, of course, to build rapport and show vulnerability.
Yes, that human touch can make a world of difference, especially with patients who might be a bit wary of healthcare professionals.
Right, it humanizes the interaction.
Exactly. And the example also highlights clear communication, making sure the patient understands their options, the implications of their choices. It's not about dictating, it's about empowering them to make informed decisions.
Absolutely. And ultimately, this example shows how this approach, this respect and dignity, leads to a positive outcome. The patient becomes more cooperative, even agrees to those follow-up treatments they were initially hesitant about.
It's a perfect illustration of how respecting someone's dignity can actually lead to better healthcare experiences and ultimately better health outcomes.
It's powerful stuff. Okay, so we've talked about individual care, but what about teamwork? That's got to be crucial in the NHS.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the next NHS value, working together for patients. It's the backbone of any successful healthcare system.
I'm curious to see how they tackle this one. What kind of question do they use?
Well, they ask, describe a time when you had to lead a team through a challenging situation.
Okay, so it's about leadership, collaboration, and keeping that focus on patient well-being even when things get tough.
Exactly. And their example, it's perfect for this. They talk about a healthcare assistant who stepped up during a really bad flu outbreak at a nursing home.
Oh, wow.
And get this, there was a staff shortage on top of everything else. Talk about pressure.
Oh, man, that sounds incredibly stressful.
It was. But this example, it really shows how leadership can emerge from any role, even those not traditionally seen as leadership positions. What's so impressive is that this healthcare assistant, they didn't wait for someone else to take charge.
They saw a need and jumped right in.
Exactly. They recognized the need for action and stepped up to coordinate a response. They organized a strategy meeting with the available staff, delegated responsibilities, and even initiated a shift rotation to maximize coverage.
So they were thinking on their feet, being adaptable and proactive.
Exactly. And they didn't just delegate and disappear. The example highlights how they held daily briefings to keep everyone informed and supported, fostering a real sense of teamwork, leading by example, creating a cohesive unit.
That's awesome. And despite all those challenges, they still managed to maintain a high standard of patient care. That speaks volumes.
It does. This example really shows how clear communication, adaptability, and a supportive leadership style can make all the difference in a high-pressure environment.
It's a great example of how to work effectively within a team, but also step up and lead when necessary, always putting patient care first, no matter what.
Absolutely. Now, I know from personal experience that maintaining quality of care can be especially challenging when things go wrong, like when systems fail or unexpected events happen.
Oh, tell me about it. It feels like those are the moments that really test you.
They do, and that's where the next NHS value comes in. Commitment to quality of care. It's about resilience, professionalism, and that dedication to maintaining standards no matter what's thrown your way.
Yeah, it's about staying focused and not letting those curveballs derail you.
Exactly. And their question for this one is, can you provide an example of how you handled a high-pressure situation? And the answer they highlight, it's all about quick thinking and adapting to the unexpected.
Okay, give me the scenario. What happened?
Picture this. A pharmacy worker facing a major computer system crashed during peak hours, right in the middle of a flu vaccine drive.
Oh no, that sounds like a nightmare.
It was chaos. But this example focuses on how they maintained calm and control despite the technical meltdown. It's about not panicking, keeping your head when everything around you is falling apart.
So what did they do? Did they just say, while the system's down, we're done for the day?
Not at all. They immediately implemented a manual tracking system. They didn't let the technical glitch compromise those essential quality standards. They adapted and found a workaround.
Wow, that's impressive. So they kept things moving, even with the system down.
They did. And they also delegated roles to the team, making sure everyone knew what to do and communicated openly with the customers about the situation, managing expectations, and being transparent.
It's amazing how clear communication can help in a crisis. It keeps everyone informed and prevents things from spiraling out of control.
Right. And despite the system outage, the team managed to process all the prescriptions and vaccinations without a single error. That's dedication.
That really showcases their commitment to delivering quality care no matter the obstacles. I also appreciate how they reflect on the lessons learned from the experience.
Me too. They talk about the importance of staying calm under pressure, adapting to unexpected situations, and leading a team through those tough times.
Those are essential skills for anyone working in healthcare, where the unexpected is, well, expected. Okay, let's move on to a value that I find incredibly inspiring: improving lives.
Ah, yes. It's not just about maintaining things as they are. It's about actively seeking ways to make things better for patients.
It's about going above and beyond, not settling for good enough.
Exactly. And they frame this value with the question, discuss a situation where you took initiative to improve patient care.
Love it. I'm ready for an inspiring story.
Oh, you're going to love this one. It's about a nurse working at a rehabilitation center who noticed that the discharge process was really confusing for patients. People were leaving without a clear understanding of their post-discharge instructions.
Oh no, that's a recipe for problems down the line.
It is, and this nurse, they didn't just complain about it, they took action. What's so great about this example is that it highlights how sometimes the most impactful improvements come from those who are closest to the patients.
They see the problems firsthand, so they're in a great position to come up with solutions.
Precisely. This nurse created a standardized discharge checklist that included everything patients needed: medication schedules, follow-up appointments, signs of potential complications, everything.
Simple but effective. That's brilliant.
Right. It shows a real understanding of patient needs and that commitment to making their experience better. And it wasn't just about creating the checklist. The example emphasizes how this nurse collaborated with everyone, doctors, nurses, administrative staff, to make sure the checklist was comprehensive and easy to use.
So they were a team player, working together to make it a success.
Exactly. And they even arranged training sessions for the staff so everyone was on board with the new process. Talk about commitment.
Wow, that's impressive. And I bet the results were fantastic.
They were. The new checklist led to way less patient confusion and even a decrease in readmission rates.
A win for everyone. It's such a powerful example of how taking initiative, collaborating effectively, and focusing on patient needs can lead to real positive changes. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about compassion, respect, teamwork, quality of care, and improving lives. What's the last NHS value we need to discuss?
The final one is everyone counts. It's really the foundation of everything the NHS stands for. Inclusivity, fairness, equitable access to care, treating every individual with respect and dignity no matter what.
It's about recognizing that healthcare is a human right, not a privilege.
Exactly. And while this video doesn't have a specific interview question for this value, they stress that interviewers will be looking for evidence of this commitment in all your answers.
It's got to be woven into everything you say and do.
Right. It's about showing that you're mindful of diversity, treat everyone with respect, and are committed to providing excellent care to everyone who walks through the door, regardless of their background.
It's about recognizing those barriers people might face, like language, culture, or socioeconomic factors, and being sensitive to those needs.
Absolutely. It's about making sure resources are allocated fairly and that everyone has the chance to be as healthy as possible.
So even if there's no direct question about everyone counts, it's important to show that this value is central to your approach to healthcare.
Exactly. Talk about how you've created inclusive environments, considered the needs of diverse patients, or championed equitable access to care.
Show them that it's not just a slogan for you, it's a guiding principle that drives your actions. This video from How to Become has been incredibly helpful. It's given us a great insight into what NHS interviewers are really looking for and how to demonstrate those values effectively.
I agree. It's been so fascinating to see how they've taken those abstract values and turned them into real-life examples, showing how we can live those values every day.
The STAR method is a great tool for structuring our answers and highlighting those skills and that commitment. But it's not about memorizing these specific examples. It's about understanding the underlying principles and applying them to our own unique experiences.
Yeah, it's about connecting those dots, linking those universal values to your personal experiences, to your story.
Yeah, and it's about those times when, you went the extra mile, where you demonstrated those values in a real, genuine way. Maybe you spoke up for a patient who felt like they weren't being heard, or maybe you took the initiative to fix a process that was driving everyone crazy. Like, what were those moments for you?
Exactly, yeah. Think about those instances, the times when you truly embody the spirit of the NHS, maybe without even realizing it at the time. Like, did you help a colleague who was struggling, or maybe you volunteered your time to, I don't know, make a difference in your community? Those experiences, those are gold.
Those are the stories that will really resonate with interviewers because they show that you don't just understand the values theoretically, you've actually put them into practice. You've lived them.
Yeah, it's about showing that genuine commitment, that desire to make a real difference. And if you can articulate those experiences in a way that links back to the NHS values, well, that's when you'll really stand out.
It's about showing them that you get it, that you're not just ticking boxes, you're actually living and breathing those values. It's about the heart and soul of the NHS. So as you gear up for that interview, take some time to really reflect. Think back on your experiences. Dig deep and find those moments, those nuggets of gold that show your compassion, your dedication, your commitment to teamwork, to making things better.
Yeah, and remember, the NHS, they're looking for people who are passionate, people who truly care about making a difference. Let that passion shine through when you answer those questions.
Yeah. Walk into that interview feeling confident, be yourself, and let that genuine desire to contribute to this incredible healthcare system, let that shine through.
It'll make all the difference.
And on that note, I think that wraps up our NHS interview deep dive. We hope this has been helpful, that it's given you some valuable insights and a boost of confidence as you prepare for this exciting journey.
Good luck with that interview. We're rooting for you.
Absolutely. We're all cheering you on.